I learned from a time when you had to kind of crack open the hood in order to see things and manipulate them. And a lot of that stuff has moved into its own sort of menus and new tools and things like that. Obviously, this has been a program that's been developed for decades, but sometimes you got a complicated subject like the foam here. If one tried to do any of a number of like wand tools or things like that, this would probably not get very far. What is the distinguishing feature of the foam? What is it that is not true of pretty much everything else in the shop?
It's white and it's perspective.
It's white, yeah. We didn't talk about this as a maybe option, but is the select color range. And that's pretty good. We've got a nice little sample there. Let's see what that gives us. And it's probably not showing us all the pixels that are selected, so let's just dupe that up and stick in a solid just so we can see what we got. So that's not bad. It's a little jaggy. And we can very quickly erase the rest of the whale there too. So that's not bad. Notice that in that prompt there's some fine tuning there too. Color range allows you to, and it's sort of selected it by luminance, but you can kind of come in here and expand upon that. Like if I'm picking something that's a light gray, you can see that it's leaving out the white. Or maybe I go something like this, and this allows us to kind of expand that. And you can see that it's expanding in a way that we don't like. Let me show you the under the hood method to get this water, and we'll get a pretty good sample out of it. We talked about raster graphics as having 3 channels, RGB, and or CMYK. And when we have that information, we can go to the channels palette and be looking at the unique color channels. So one of the things that's sort of hard to figure here is that in each of the respective channels, pure white means that it's a lot of that color. So just as an example, if we were to bring up a red swatch here real quick, pure red, and draw on it, we would find that it is in the red channel, and in the green channel is black, and in the blue channel is black, which means what? Lots of red, no green, no blue, right? So it's 100% pure red there. So that tells us a little bit about how we might attack something like this. Blue is in the water, pretty logically. I mean, we can look at it, and I'm guessing that this might have been either it's very clean, cool water, which it could be in the wild, or it's been maybe color corrected a little bit because it's pretty even. But I lost my control there. But if we look at the blue channel, we'll notice that that means that the foam has a lot of blue too. 100% blue, 100% red, and 100% green. Just to prove that, let's go ahead and write in white, and we'll see that as a white streak on all the channels. So white is 100% red, 100% green, 100% blue. Black is 0, 0, 0, and so on. But then we get into the weird colors, they'll be in some and not in others. We come in here like that. This will be a little bit of red, a lot of green, and a little bit of blue. What has the least amount of blue in it here? Least amount of the ocean. Looks like red, right? Red is all foam and a little bit of water. So what we might do to capture that is to make a duplicate of it. I'm going to just drag it to the little new layer icon here. It's probably a control click or a right click to get you a duplicate layer. And on this copy, and make sure you're doing this on a copy, you can manipulate this image so that the white is more prominent. And one way to do that would be various contrast tools like levels or curves that we talked about. And I'll just do it destructively here. I'm bringing up the black point to make the water kind of go away, and maybe find something like that. Maybe a little bit more white. Slide that in. Okay, remember that gray is going to be half selected, white is going to be 100% selected, and black is going to be ignored. So I can say okay to that. And then I could just paint out the stuff I don't like. And we can do so quickly with the big stuff. and a little less quickly with the real tiny stuff, but I'll show you something else to work for that. So get in here a little bit tighter, and I'm starting to run into the end of my capacity to do this. Okay, so there is another tool in here which you can use for changing the exposure on stuff, and it's dodge and burn, and I'm trying to get to it here. Yeah. Okay, so it's under O. Dodge makes things brighter, and burn makes things darker. And it does so in a kind of a weighted way. You can say, you know, affect the shadows specifically, affect the midtone specifically. The way you remember it is dodge, of course, doesn't really mean anything to me, but burn, think of burnt toast. It gets darker, so you can remember burn. And so in this case, we'll actually burn, and we'll burn starting with the shadows and burn through here. And you'll see that the highlight stuff sticks around, but the stuff that was kind of dodgy that we didn't want is going away pretty quick. And I'll just do a little touch up over here, switch back to my brush tool, kill those guys. Maybe I want the reflection, that's a possibility. But now I've got my splash. And maybe I even just, let's make that nice and solid there. You could also come in and fill this in with a brush if you wanted, but I like the variety of it. A channel at any time can be a selection. All you have to do is command click on the thumbnail, there he is. And now I really have it. So if I can Command J that up and just stick something in between here real quick. That's the water. And it has a little bit of color in it, but mostly it's white because the foam was white. If it had any color in the original, we would see that coming through, because this is not the channel anymore. This is really a copy of the content from that picture.